What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And as you can tell, today I'm going to be coming at you with a incredibly long story time that was actually given to me by a friend about how he had to deal with this Karen that was like trying to scam and sue his family. And he ended up catching her in 4K when she was supposed to have been hurt, like doing some crazy stuff. Saved his family a bunch of money in the lawsuit and just, caught a Karen in 4K. I figured it would be right up your guys' alley and something y'all would enjoy, so it's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we get into it, be sure to press the like button, or no joke, no scam whatsoever, you're going to be visited by the 3 ghosts of Christmas Past in July. And they're going to just stay with you till Christmas. So press the like button or you're going to have to deal with that. And without further ado, let's get into this insanely long story time. Let's go.
The sun's down and I'm feeling it right, so tell me, little mama, what you doing tonight? You know I'm trying to hit it, I'm the being.
Alright, so as I said, this is from a friend of mine who we're gonna name Kevin for the rest of this story. I'll be honest, his name is just Kevin, so, Kevin's been a friend of mine for a while, and he told me that he had to deal with a Karen one time when he was a teenager that basically was trying to bankrupt his family for fun. And obviously, when he said that, I was very interested and, demanded that he tell me everything. So, basically, this all started one day when he had been at the mall with his mother. She had kind of dragged him there to do some shopping with her, and they had had a pretty good day. And obviously after the day, they ended up needing to go home. So they were in the car driving home, and the car in front of them was driving crazy erratically, like it was speeding up really quick and then slamming on the brakes and slowing down. Just kind of being all over the place, but whatever. His mom gave some extra space between the car in front of them and just kind of started driving slower. Well, I guess traffic started to pick up or whatever, and they ended up having to get closer to the car in front of them. And out of nowhere, the car in front of them slams on the brakes, and his mom slams on the brakes, but it's just not enough, and they end up hitting the car in front of them. But when it says that they hit them, it's not like they plowed into the back, bro. One person went flying out the passenger seat, it burst into flames. Like, literally, it just kind of tapped it. Honestly, from what Kevin told me, and I have no reason to not believe him, he's like, there maybe was a dent, but he even doubts there was a dent. Regardless, they pull over and they get out of the car, and his mom walks up to the window of the other car, and when she gets up there, the door opens, and out steps who's going to be known as Karen from now on. And when Karen gets out of the car, she's acting normally, she's talking to the mom, she doesn't seem pissed off or hurt anything, everything seems normal. And one thing that really sucks about just driving in America is it doesn't matter if the person in front of you slams on the brakes, it doesn't matter, what the situation is. If you hit anyone from the back, you're automatically at fault. So even if it's barely a tap, it's kind of up to the person you hit to kind of decide what happens next. And while this Karen lady is acting normal for now, she's really insistent on calling the cops. And obviously there's nothing wrong with that. Some people are just paranoid, that's cool. But it wasn't the type of crash where they needed the cops to be there. They definitely could have just swapped insurances, contacted each other, and just handled it that way. There was no need for any of this to go down the way it went down. So whatever, she calls the cops, and as soon as she's on the phone with the cops, this calm, collected Karen lady that had just been acting relatively normal before goes full on Karen mode, bro. It was like somebody had told her that the coupon that she had was expired and she wasn't going to be able to use it. You would have thought that some lady had walked up to her, punched her in the face and said, "Your cooter smells like tuna fish." It was genuinely as if something had just flipped in her head. She starts screaming on the phone with the police that she had been rear-ended by a lunatic who was threatening her and trying to flee the scene, and that, they were trying to escape and she had somehow managed to block their car and so they couldn't get out of there. And obviously Kevin and his mom are just sitting there flabbergasted because they hadn't come at her like a lunatic. They weren't trying to flee the scene, and her car wasn't even blocking them in. They could have gotten in and driven away if they wanted to. And so they're just kind of standing there in shock, not knowing what to do, while this Karen lady is just screaming at the cops that, it's all their fault and they went crazy and caused this giant accident and are trying to leave right now. And as soon as she's kind of going off to the cops and finishes the little tirade about how crazy everybody's being, her daughter, which had been in the passenger seat, starts screaming about how her back is killing her and it just hurts so bad and her back is hurting her so bad. And listen, I understand that obviously when you've been in a car accident, your back can hurt. I'm not doubting that at all. But at this point, they've been out of the cars for maybe about 5 minutes, and the daughter hadn't said a single word. In fact, she hadn't looked any of them in the eye, like Kevin or his mom. But now, as soon as they're there's people on the phone. Her back is killing her. She can barely walk, da-da-da-da-da. And she had gotten out of the car and walked over to the side of the road just fine. But now, all of a sudden, she's like, I'm dying. My injuries are unsustainable. And then the Karen doesn't, like, explain that she needs police there immediately or anything, or explain that it's an accident. She just hangs up. So obviously, all this operator has heard is pure chaos, car accident, someone screaming they can't feel their legs, like, whatever's going on. So within about 15 minutes, dude, there's 4 cop cars, a fire truck, and 2 ambulances there. And this tiny, tiny, tiny fender bender becomes this big deal. The daughter and the mom claim that they need ambulances to go to the hospital, and it's pretty apparent right away that they're definitely trying to act way more hurt than they are. And for those of you that don't know, this actually does happen from time to time. It's like an insurance scam thing. Basically, people drive like trash to try to get you to rear end them, and then they say that their back hurts because it's kind of medically impossible to disprove back pain. So they go with something really vague, and then they just sue the crap out of you, claiming that you ruined their life and now life sucks for them because of you, da-da-da-da-da. And so even the firefighters are kind of like giving these people side eyes. The paramedics are, the cops are, because they could just tell that the wreck wasn't that serious. Like, yes, it was a car accident, but it wasn't really like 15 cop cars, 2 fire trucks, and 2 different ambulance rides to the hospital serious. However, sure enough, when somebody's like, I need an ambulance, they kind of gotta do it. So whatever, they're in a situation where these people go and they just tell Kevin and his mom to go home and wait. So they go home and they don't hear anything for about a week. And then they get a letter in the mail basically saying that the Karen who they had hit is suing them for a ungodly amount of money. I don't want to say the exact number because I don't want to give too much away, but it was over a 7-figure sum, which is $1 million for those of you who don't know. And Kevin, his family had a house with a pool and whatnot, but I think most of us can agree that we don't really have $1 million laying around to just be paying people. And even then, it's abundantly obvious that, like, okay, fine, let's say you were injured. They did not get $1 million worth of injuries from this little fender bender. You know what I'm saying?
So the Karen had decided to sue Kevin's mom, saying her life has been ruined, and obviously when somebody tries to sue you for $1 million, it's incredibly stressful, I'm imagining. I've never been in that situation, but I feel like that's a lot of pressure on you to do a lot of things. So Kevin's mom becomes stressed out all the time. She's constantly like crying around the house, saying that she's gonna bankrupt the family and it's all her fault. She was moody, angry all the time because she was just stressed out. And Kevin, seeing all this, naturally started to like hate this Karen lady because she had turned his mom, who used to be super chill, go with the flow, happy-go-lucky, into this like angry person who was constantly pissed off and stressed because they felt like they had ruined the rest of their family's life. And I'm feeling like it's not a good feeling to feel like you're responsible for ruining everyone around you's life, even if it's not your fault because somebody else is trying to, scam you for the bandos. I'm sure it's not pleasant to have to like look at everybody and be like, hey, we might lose $1 million, my bad, for, I don't know, accidentally tapping somebody and then them faking an injury. And to make matters even worse, the Karen that had been faking this injury was like kind of well known around town. She wasn't famous or anything, but she just kind of had a lot of friends. And her friends had friends and whatnot, and she had gone to all of her friends and people she knew and started telling everyone that Kevin's mom had been texting at the time of the accident and not paying attention and speeding, and was like telling this story that was way worse than the actual car accident was. In fact, she was telling some people that she saw Kevin's mom like look at her through the like window thing and then slam on the gas harder, as if she had purposely crashed her car into hers. Like, she's making Kevin's mom basically sound like a psychopath. And everyone around town just kind of starts to assume that Kevin's mom is an awful person who had seriously injured this Karen by either, negligence, texting and driving, or some of them believed it was on purpose. And it didn't help that this Karen, when she's telling people this, is like wearing a neck brace, being like, oh, I'm so injured and limping everywhere. Keep in mind, though, Karen hadn't said she had any injuries, and B, the only injury that had been listed was a back injury before. Oh, my back, she had said her back hurt randomly. But now, of course, after the fact, she's wearing a neck brace, limping around telling everybody that, oh, this crazy lady hit me with her car. And when someone in a neck brace wincing in pain is telling you a story, you're probably not likely to be like, I don't know if this is truthful, because your guard is kind of down when somebody's like that, So obviously all this is going down and it's a disaster. And in the process of a lawsuit, especially in situations like this, there's this thing called settling sometimes, which is where you agree to just pay someone to like get them to drop the lawsuit, you know? And you tend to do this if you're guilty or like not 100% sure you'd win. And just because of the way that like driving laws are structured, there's nothing that you can do about this. Because of a technicality that Kevin's mom had like hit the car from behind, she was legally at fault. Meaning that even though this Karen is faking her injury, there's still like a 20% chance of them losing the case. And when it's a massive settlement like this, sometimes it's easier to just pay them $100,000 instead of potentially losing $1 million. So the insurance company and the lawyers come together and say that they should probably just settle and get over it rather than having a chance of losing the money. And when they say that to Kevin's mom, obviously she does not like that idea at all because she hadn't done anything wrong, you know, at least that wrong. Yeah, she rear-ended her, but she wasn't like drinking and driving while texting her girlfriends about, you know, all the crazy stuff she was about to do when she got home with this Colombian baking powder. Driving recklessly like I am in this gameplay. No, it's like a soccer mom accidentally tapping somebody with the car, and now they're basically saying that she's gonna have to settle. So, whatever, they are going back and forth, and they say she has a week to think about it. They say that you have a week before, you know, we really have to go back and offer them anything, so just think about it. So, for that week, obviously, the family is just kind of having a lot of discussions about what they should do and talking about it, and the parents are trying to hide it, but they don't do a very good job. Y'all know how it is. But along the way, it's a lot of stress in the house. You know, everybody's kind of freaking out. So his parents decide to send him with some family friends to go to a trampoline park a town over because they were going to go, and they thought it would just kind of help him get his mind off of things. Now, this town was about an hour away, so I guess it was like far enough away from where they were from that people didn't really worry about being recognized. You know, it kind of felt like you were like out of your hometown. And that'll be important later, but whatever. That day, they get into this car, they pull into the parking lot of this trampoline park and go in. And obviously, Kevin is, you know, just trying to have himself a good day. He's have a lot on his mind. He's been stressed out as hell. And he feels crazy because as he's looking around, kind of just looking at the park, getting an overview of this trampoline park, he swears that one of the women on this trampoline park, like in this trampoline park, there's tons of trampolines. There's one woman jumping who looks like this Karen from the car accident, dude. And he's just staring at her because he's like, wow, that looks so much like that person. And as he's staring at this lady who's jumping on a trampoline perfectly fine, the daughter comes over and stands next to her and starts talking to her. And that's when he realizes that this is the Karen and her family at a trampoline park an hour away. Here's this Karen who's apparently so hurt that she's suing his family for $1 million. You know, she's so injured that she has to bankrupt his entire family at a trampoline park jumping up and down like nothing is wrong, bro. And so he's just watching for a bit, and then he decides that he's gonna get some evidence. So he pulls out his phone and just kind of starts filming them and starts walking over. And the entire time that he's filming them and walking towards them, bro, they're just jumping up and down on the trampoline, bouncing, having themselves a grand old time, man. Which is wild considering, yeah, these are the two people that also have such intense medical injuries that they simply are going to need an endless supply of money. And as he's going over there, bro, at one point, like, the mom does a backflip and crazy for a back injury. And as he's walking towards him, it takes about a minute to get over there. And now he's kind of near them, still filming them having the time of their lives on this. And that's when the daughter turns and sees him and goes, "Oh my God, why are you filming us?" And the Karen hadn't turned yet, and she turns, and as soon as she sees the kid, and, you know, the daughter didn't really recognize who it was, but you could tell in the eyes of the Karen when she turned and saw that it was the kid of the woman they were suing. The look on her face was as if she had just seen a ghost that was like about to knock her out, dog. I don't know if you guys watched the UFC fight last night with Usman, but yeah, he's getting like knocked out was the amount of fear in her eyes. And as soon as the Karen realizes it's the son of the woman that she's suing, she starts screaming bloody murder in the middle of this trampoline park, bro. She's saying he's a stalker who's filming them to use for dirty websites. She's saying that, you know, he's been following them all day and he's a weirdo. Like, just screaming basically everything that she can to try to get people to preemptively think that this kid is a scumbag. And obviously, when you're in the middle of like a family fun center trampoline park thing and somebody starts screaming about like, oh my God, this this is a stalker, security comes over pretty quick. It's not crazy intense security, it's like mall cop security, but they come over pretty quick, and obviously, it's one hell of a scene. It's very confusing. Alright guys, I'm gonna interrupt the video for just 1 second. On screen now is actually a PlayStation gift card. I give a gift card away in every single upload on this channel, just as a way to say thank you to everyone who's subscribed with notifications on. So yeah, if you haven't already, please be sure to press that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you never miss another post. Big thank you to everyone for that. And just a reminder, if you use code Scrubby at the G Fuel checkout, it is a discount of 30% for the next couple days, 10% after that, so use code Scrubby at the G Fuel checkout. And yeah, I'll shut up. Enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you. Alright, so Karen is screaming at him, and security comes over, and obviously has a lot to take in there, but as they're walking up and like starting to watch the scene, the Karen throws herself onto Kevin. Like, she throws her body weight into him, and then looks at the security guard and starts screaming, "Help, he's attacking me, he's attacking me, he's attacking me." And I think she thought in her head that it would make Kevin look insane, but the only problem is she had done it when, like, they were too close and very obviously saw what was going on. So now security's kind of got the eyebrow raised, bro. She acting kind of sus, imposter among us. Jesus Christ, that was bad. I'm really sorry you guys had to hear that. Anyways, so they separate them and obviously are kind of like, I don't know what the hell's happening. And as they separate them, just like in this little area, the Karen is not coming down. She's screaming about how he's a stalker and he has videos of them and he has to delete the footage right now, otherwise she's calling the police. She's freaking out because she understands that, you know, if this kid manages to keep that video, the chances of her ever winning this lawsuit that she's like faked this injury for is slim to none. So she's just trying to like freak out and make the security guards just have him delete it really quick just to have this done with. The only problem is because the security guards had kind of walked up and witnessed this, her like throwing herself onto him, they don't really buy it. And even then, she's still screaming and swearing and going ballistic in the middle of the trampoline park, so they actually have to like take them out of the main floor. So they take the Karen to one room, they take Kevin to the other room, and Kevin is sitting in this room alone for 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, these security guards come in, and they just look exhausted, bro. They look like they just tried to fight a wildebeest. They look like, you know, they tried to get in the way of one of the property brothers in a remodeled kitchen. It is just a situation that you do not want to be in. They look like they just fought the devil. And they ask him if he's been stalking this woman for weeks, and obviously Kevin goes, no, you know. And in fact, he starts giggling, and he explains the situation. And I don't know if it was just the stress or the relief of catching this woman being here, but he explains to the guards like everything from the car accident to him suing his mom, all of it. And the guards kind of realize what's going on and kind of, you know, don't question it much, and they realize, yeah, that makes sense, which is wild to me. And it was kind of like, why the hell did they not question this kid more, until it comes out that, you know, they tell Kevin that they had never had to deal with somebody that unbearable before. And yeah, like the story she was telling them didn't make any sense. Like apparently she was telling them that Kevin had gotten obsessed with her last time she was at the trampoline park and had been stalking her ever since, taking videos of her and following her everywhere because they wanted to date and whatnot. And when they were like asking her for details, she just couldn't provide any, and she was screaming at them, saying she was gonna get them fired, all this crazy stuff. Which, here's what I don't understand. If you're gonna, like, you know, commit to trying to just be a crazy person, the least you should do is treat the people that need to, like, help you out nicely. Because when you're a crazy person, when they go talk to the other person and they're very calm and explain that you're the crazy person, it's very believable, you know? This kid literally just had to be like, nah, she's nuts. And they basically had to believe him because she's nuts. However, they do tell him that due to like laws in the state that they were in, he does have to delete the video because you can't record people and whatnot. And the Karen was going to freak out and call the police unless they got him to delete the video. But they were going to leave him alone for 5 minutes. And as long as the video wasn't on his phone when they came back, it was okay. And, you know, they didn't explicitly say wink, wink, nudge, nudge in these 5 minutes. You should 100% send this video to somebody else so that way your family avoids the lawsuit. We're leaving leaving, so we have no legal liability and we can't tell you to do it, but you should do it. One of those situations. So they leave the room and he immediately whips out his phone, sends it to his mom right away and his dad and his siblings just in case, and then deletes those messages and walks out. And, the Karen is standing there with her arms crossed, looking all dignified as if she's winning this. You know when they do like the arm cross foot tap thing, like, you thought you won? And obviously, the Karen is looking all smug, and she takes his phone and starts looking through it, and she doesn't see the video. And when she doesn't see the video, she starts smiling all smugly and looks at him and says, "What are you gonna do now, huh?" And Kevin is just kind of sitting there like, "I don't know." And then the daughter, the one that had faked the back injury as soon as the phone call at the car accident had happened, pulls out her phone and starts filming Kevin, saying that he's a weirdo stalker and like won't leave them alone. And at that point, security's just had enough. They take the daughter's phone out of her hand and they're like, "You guys gotta leave." So, Kevin, the family, friends that he was with, and these people all have to leave. The security just didn't want to deal with the drama. And I don't blame them, man. I feel like running security at a trampoline park's already got to be frustrating enough with kids trying to, like, beat each other to death over dodgeball games. Now you have a Karen and these people arguing and whatnot. It's just a disaster. Anyways, as soon as Kevin gets home, his mom is like, "I sent that to the lawyer and he's gonna look over it soon." And, he's very nervous about it. His parents are happy with him, though. They tell him that he did the right thing and, like, no matter what happens, they're proud of him. All that good stuff, mushy gushy, whatnot. And for 3 days, they don't really hear anything. They got all nervous, they're stressed. And the lawyer calls them and basically said that they had forwarded the video to the insurance company and their lawyers, and they had dropped the case and apologized. Yeah, I don't think this lady understood that just because you're paying the lawyers doesn't mean that they're going to go ahead with the lawsuit if evidence is presented. Like, they didn't send this lady the video and tell her to drop the lawsuit. They just sent it to the legal team and were like, "Hey, we can keep doing this, but we're gonna use this in court and you're gonna lose, so don't waste your time." And at that point, yeah, her team was like, "Okay, yeah, we're not doing this. You've been faking your injury, trying to just bankrupt these people for no reason." So this lady had paid for these lawyers and is now out all of the money because, when you lie to the people representing you, basically, she was basically committing fraud, So, like, they got to keep the money she had paid for the representation up to that point because it hadn't been legal, I guess. I'm not a lawyer, guys. I don't know. They kept the money she paid for the lawyer. And wouldn't you know it, dude, the rich Karen had paid all these money for the lawyers and they had eaten it. And at that point, though, Kevin's mother had decided that she was going to get their legal fees covered. And of course, because the Karen had a lot of money, she ended up settling with Kevin's mom just for the legal fees. They didn't ask for any more than that. So this Karen basically faked this major injury only to lose out on the money she paid for her lawyers and then had to pay for Kevin's mom lawyers as well. And it's just honestly the stupidest idea ever, bro. Like, even if you are evil enough to fake a major injury to try to bankrupt somebody, like if you're that bad of a person, why would you also be dumb enough to then go to a trampoline park and be bouncing around having the time of your life? Like, if you're really about to make $1 million off faking this injury, can't you just not go for 2 weeks? And you also just shouldn't be that bad of a person. Like, go make money the right way. Don't fake a injury in a car accident and bankrupt a family. I would have loved to have been in the room when, like, her lawyers kind of told her that they weren't taking the case anymore and to get out because she was full of it. She must have been so flabbergasted to have been caught that hard in 4K, bro. Like, I always wonder when people that are old get caught in 4K if they still like technology. Old people usually are like, "Oh my gosh, technology's the future, it's so powerful," until they get caught doing some stupid stuff with a camera phone and then they don't like it anymore. Like, all right, guys, we are at the point where everyone's got a camera in their pocket. Maybe faking insurance is not a good thing to do anymore, and it's just not cool. They had to have been so salty when they had to pay all the damages, bro. Like, oh yeah, this Karen's downfall, the reason she lost out on probably hundreds of thousands of dollars, I don't really know, is because she just couldn't stay away from the trampoline park, dog. She should have just stayed home. The bouncy dodgeball was not worth it. Out of all the things that could bring, like, your evil enterprise to the ground, your multi-million-dollar scheme, a trampoline park honestly has to be one of the most lame ones ever. Like, this lady was evil enough to be a Bond villain, bankrupting this family, no regret, but she still couldn't couldn't bow to the power of a trampoline park. It just goes to show you guys, you know, there are very things more Yes, I don't know. Anyways, I think that's gonna do it for the video though, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. I really would appreciate it. Like, press like right now. 1, 2, okay, there, you should have pressed it. If you're slower than that, I don't know what to tell you. If you guys like the intro song, a link to it will be in the description down below. Feel free to go give it a listen, along with checking out my podcast, The Scuffed Cast. A link to that can also be found down below. And last but certainly not least, you should consider going to the merch link that can also be found in the description, picking up some of the coolest merch to ever exist. And yeah, other than that, big thank you to everyone who's subscribed with notifications on, watches the videos, likes, comments. Anything you guys do for the channel really makes my my life possible. And I really do appreciate it. But on that note, my favorite people, that's gonna do it for the video. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys all next time with another one. I'm out. Peace.